Hello, hello, hello. It's Shirley Ross, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today we are going to get inky. Let's get inky. So I was playing with the stencils with the stamp set, Layers of Beauty. It comes with a thin cut, clear stamp, and coordinating stencils. I'm still learning all the ins and outs of the clear stamp. So the first thing I want to share is I'm using my Misty to hold it in place. I put a little bit of repositionable adhesive. I have an old repositionable adhesive that I use for things like this. The cool thing is there's a little notch at the top, so you'll know every time to put your stencils on, so that little notch is at the top. And then you just kind of line it up with the areas that are going to be inked with this particular excuse me, stencil. And we're doing the leaves first, and this is going to be the contrasting, the darker color. So I am using Mossy Meadow. I am a little limited in my inks. I am going to put my sample over here because that is a bad glare. I don't want you to have to sit there and see it. All right, so I saw a video. I can't remember her name. She's a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and she was inking, and she put the ink that on the block instead of trying to get it directly from the ink pad. She said sometimes it got too much ink, and so I tried it and I liked it. So I'm just gonna pick up some ink, and then I'm going to just slowly add the ink. You can re-ink as much or as little as you need. Doesn't take a lot, I have found. Sorry, this is going to wiggle you a little bit. And it does pick up a lot of ink. I never realized that when I was using the daubers in the past. And I'm using some of my stash blending brushes. I always say use what you have. So I'm going to take that off, and you can see it's added just a little bit of ink to the highlighting ink. Now I'm using a baby wipe. I think my baby wipe, I need to get a new one. That one's been sitting out for a little while I've been working on other things. So let me get a fresh one. So I always want to clean my stencils right away. So of course I put them under here. Let me slide them out. All right, so then we're going to do the next one, and this should be the rest of the leaf. And again, I'm going to move the magnet out of the way and just line it up until it looks good. You can play with it a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. Of course, I've got my, there we go. I usually have my foam part on here when I'm stamping with my stamps, clear stamps, because you need the higher stamping area. And when you do that, the magnet doesn't stick quite as hard. So I'm going to use the Old Olive as my light color. And again, I've cleaned off my block. I'm putting new ink on there. I'm going to take the dauber that I had and kind of wipe it off, and then pick up some ink. And again, you're just going to do the same thing. I really do like the idea of using the block as the palette to pick up the ink from. Usually I used to just do it on one of the corners, but this has really been a nice way of doing it, I think. You can try it out. right, I think I have it the way I want it. So we'll move that over, clean off our stencil, and now you can see that you have a light and a dark on your leaves. Okay, so then it's going to do the same thing with the flower itself. Now the one thing, I know I should have a tape on there. A lot of people put tape on it. I think I might have it upside down. Do I have it upside down? Nope, I had it right. Alrighty. I'm trying to line up the little circles on the smaller flowers. There we go. I found that if I lined those up, then the rest of it was pretty good. All right, I did blue on the original one, and I thought I have some oranges and yellows. I thought, why not experiment? Let's see what happens. So I am using pumpkin pie. It's getting to be fall, so it'll be nice to try a fall color. Let me clean off my block. And just to let you know, this is all I'm doing is I'm just taking the block and picking up some ink onto the block. And then I'm just taking my blending brush and picking it up. Now this is the darkest color, so this is going to be for our dark shaded areas and for the centers of the smaller flowers. And I wanted those centers really nice and dark, so I may go over those a couple of times just so that they'll stand out. All right, that looks good. Okay, we'll take this one off. Clean it off. Set it to the side. All right. Now there are 3 sections for the flower. And again, the notch, make sure it's at the top. That's what I didn't look at the last time when I was putting it on there. And if I did, then I would know I had it right. Okay, so this time, this is going to, I want the little centers to be covered with that little piece. So if I cover those, I pretty much have it where I want it. So there's little tricks to this, to each one I'm learning. I am new at this and it's fun learning all over again. It's almost like learning how to stamp all over again. All right, I'm going to use peach pie as the shadow part, and then I'm going to use a yellow. I'm going to introduce a different color. Okay, let me clean off the... I'm just wiping my blending brush over onto a piece of scrap paper. And then we'll just ink again. And I hear my cat. You may hear my cat. She is, I'm going to be going to get her some new snacks, and she's not happy that I decided to do a video before I went to get her some snacks. So she's letting me know that. Okay, I think that's good. All right, let's see how that turned out. Oh, I like those 2 colors. I'm not sure how the yellow is going to work in with all this, but I'm going to give it a try because I am just starting out with Stampin' Up, and I don't have all the colors yet. All right, I didn't pull this is one I used for yellows before. So I am using Daffodil Delight. It's hard to read it in that yellow. So let me clean off my block, as I do not want to contaminate my ink. All right, I'm going to pick up some color again, and then I'm going to use... Oh, let me first put this stencil on. almost made a boo-boo there. All right, again, I'm going to look to cover the centers of the larger flowers, the little flowers, and that should line me up just right. All right, let's pick up some ink and see what happens when we use yellow with those really dark colors. I always love to experiment to see what happens when you play with colors, what goes well together, what doesn't. You could even mix the colors. You could have do the smaller flowers in one color, like they could all be yellow, and then the other ones could be red. Things that coordinate with each other. I used a lot of ink on this one, so let me refill my block. I want it to be kind of dark since I'm using it with such dark highlights. I don't want it to disappear. Oh, I missed those little ones up there almost. And there's some over here. Don't want to miss the teeny ones. All right, I think that's good. Let's see what we have. That's not bad. I kind of like that. So I hope you enjoyed the quick Let's Get Inky stencil demonstration, and I'd love to hear what you like, so leave a comment. This is Shirley Ross, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. See you soon.